call anyways. Call us to order at 9:03. We're going to be in the Latin Texas Advisory Board of the City of Trinidad. Start with roll call. Eric.
Here.
Chris. Liz absent. I'm present. It doesn't mean if we hold any votes, they're going to have to be unanimous for anything to happen today. So if we disagree, then
We'll have the majority of the quorum, not the majority of the board.
It would be, what board is it?
Yeah, it would be the tiebreaker.
Okay.
You would be the tiebreaker. Well, no.
Yeah,
that was interesting. Yeah, you got the tiebreaker. All right, Chris, let's disagree about everything. To make Joe vote, yeah. The tie.
Okay. We'll see what we have to actually, if there's things actually going on anyway, or hopefully we just make some headway on our ad plan and grant decisions are going to be a big one as well, so we keep that moving.
Did she send this to everybody? The comments?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay. So I don't need to do comments.
And Chris has got the last one, you probably have too, right?
Yeah, you've got the,
let's see, I've already talked about it.
Yeah. New business, we had a meeting with Tara yesterday. Victor went there, so get Chris caught up on that. Seems like we're more or less on the same page with the city editor's office at this point, so we got a bunch of budget clarity. Chris and I will get a chance to look at that spreadsheet I sent over, but that's updated numbers on the fund, and then
When did you send it?
yesterday afternoon, so maybe like, I don't know, 3-4 p.m.
Yeah, really.
I'll pull it up on the screen as well, because we'll want to look at it for the rest of this meeting. So actually,
do you want to get some? I could share what I thought about it while you're sitting.
oh, on the meeting, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sort of echo what Joe said. I thought we had.
Just remember to turn that off, and I'll be back. I'm going to be tied up at 10 o'clock.
Okay, I'll just leave it in here and then you come get it later.
Yeah, if nobody's going to come in here, it's fine.
Yeah.
So
Throw some chairs, get some smart clothes, viral things.
Yeah.
I need a Geraldo moment so I can get some viral.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're trying to lift your
Right.
visibility.
All right, it could be acting, but
Yeah, no, there is going to be a good one. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why, but looks like it's going to be a pain in the butt to hook back up.
So I thought we had an active partner in the city.
Yeah,
That felt like a change for me in that.
I don't think it is.
That she was helping us work
I
through
want to break the
numbers on this spreadsheet.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, whenever I. I'll have to have that.
Well, not as interesting.
Before you want to bring the Roman one in here? That's why we
Sure, yeah. Or we can move over there, I guess.
No, it's okay.
I didn't leave. Choice.
So, yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was, it seems clear that they're not touching really most of the rest of the funds. They really us, although Eric did remark something about, like, we're just doing stuff and we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know that's background, but she at least mentioned the other events they have in mind. I think that we should get with Felicia directly instead of Tara because she's got all of those.
She's a
particular. So just connect with Felicia and say, hey, when you guys are starting to plan these things, either get Victor in the room, come to one of our meetings, just give us a lowdown on what's coming, how much it's going to cost.
Yeah, I heard about Global for the first time. I don't know what that is. It's casino night, right?
Yes.
There's pickleball, and there's one other event that was like, and they're all coming out of our budget, right?
Yeah, but that'll all should hit recreation, which doesn't large amount, but we don't really have plans to spend that at the moment.
Well, an interesting point about recreation. It seemed to me that what came out of that, the variety of activities is what the city is defining in bucket C, and I'm just reading it here, right? It says maintenance, improvement, development of recreation facilities, which,
And programs.
and programs. That's the word, right? Is the last word, and that's what I was going to say. They seem to be defining it as, for their own purposes, in spending money from that bucket, that it's whatever they decide is a program.
Well, I believe that's the original intent is, when we were meeting with Ruger in the early days, there's a lot of talk about like youth sports leagues, things like that.
Yes.
So these are activities for the town to partake in that improve quality of life.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So
we're not really constrained by the idea that it's recreation. We've been calling it recreation in a way in these meetings, but it isn't necessarily recreation.
well, I think all of those things, Will Ellis golf, casino night, that was maybe borderline.
I don't think the fireworks are recreation in the sense of games. It's certainly an entertaining activity. Right.
Yeah, fireworks, that's kind of a questionable one.
Yeah, and so they just seem to be defining it as fun things to do.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I'm not arguing with that. I'm saying this. That was actually. It seemed like a win.
Where it's at,
As long as he's asking me.
Yes. It just seemed like a win to me, and the handcuffs in a way were taken off the cat.
Right.
We'll let you know in just a second. Yeah, that's it. Would help a little bit bigger.
Well, these are just my minutes, so this, I can probably zoom a little bit.
No, if you can't, that's fine. Yeah, I got it.
So I'll just go through this, but.
I was saying, Chris, except that we have an active partner. I mean, Tara's helping us go through the sheet, right, and assigning money to categories and updating the spreadsheet, which I thought is good that we can all see the information in real time and how decisions affected other decisions, which I thought was really helpful.
Didn't they happen to ask her why they decided to do the radio without going through us?
Didn't really press them on most of the decision making. It was more like, what are we doing moving forward here?
Well, if it was because they didn't want me doing it anymore, which is the only thing I can come up with, just tell me. I don't,
I don't think that's the
I don't
answer.
think that. Yeah, I think that they're just trying to make movement happen.
We were about to.
Yeah, so that's just, some of that is like making sure Victor's taking our stuff back out. If he's meeting with Tara, like, is he giving any update on board activities? Is he actually know,
Yeah.
what those are, and have an understanding of that? So, yeah, again, this is just, a lot of it's just communication issues. I don't think that's like them deliberately trying to sidestep or cut anybody out. It's just that, reality is we're almost in May, and there's been a ton coming out of the board. So, city trying to do stuff on their own, I can see why they would. So yeah, the radio thing is not, I don't think it's even trying to sidestep. I imagine that the radio might contact the city directly too.
There's also my sense that this is obligatory spending. And she talked about the Raton Media Guide, the Huerfano Journal, the Chronicle. That all seemed like, that really wasn't our decision to make. That's an obligation the city has to the local organs to make sure that it happens.
I don't know that it's an
I think it's an obligation.
She said we have to spend. She said we have to spend the money on the Chronicle, and we're going to try to spread that around. Oh, that's interesting because it was put on our budget. And we didn't have any say about it, and it felt like, in this meeting when we talked about it, it's like, well, we have to do this, right? And I don't mean that, I guess, just they feel obligated to support the local press and these publications.
I get what you're saying, but we technically don't have an obligation.
Yeah, it's not like.
Yeah.
I
get what you're saying.
Yeah, they just appear on the list, and she says, well, because we spent this money with the other press agencies, we have to, with the Chronicle.
We should.
Should.
Maybe that's right.
So yeah, there are going to be some other events coming that will presumably hit the recreational line. So that was Glow Ball, which is a night golfing event / tournament. So it's like a round of the day and a round in the night with light up balls.
And it's late in the fall, so.
And then
cold.
October, November.
October's like the best time here.
It could be. I've been sweating here during Halloween.
I just don't like
freezing.
Yeah, I don't like being cold. I will not participate. If there is coldness.
Let the minutes show that Victor will.
There was something.
There's the other Chronicle from Adrian.
Yes.
There was something else So,
Yeah, I
football,
can't-
museum, I feel like there's one more.
Pickleball.
Oh yeah, pickleball,
Yeah, but there was a fourth one, right?
maybe.
Yeah.
Fishing tournament?
No, it was
That's
something
already
in.
in there.
Yeah, that's factored in. Anyway, it just seemed like, oh, there's other stuff.
Yeah, and so Victor, I was hoping we could lean on you a little bit to just help continue cleaning up the communication back and forth.
Yeah.
So, like, if you have a chance to sit down with Felicia as these events are happening, assuming she's still the point person for all of them, I don't know. Or as you're meeting with Tara, you hear about them, just to get us more information one way or another, like an estimated budget. Tara did mention, Chris, that for next year, the board will be involved in evaluation of these events. So ideally on the tail end, we also then get like attendance reports, how much money was made back on registration, just a general sense of how.
She made it sound like the board is gonna have a bigger role this next.
Yeah,
I think, and first, we have to have data, right? I mean, one of the couple data points that's usually vested to us, Chris, in the meeting, are that my sense is what she said about the pickleball tournament is it's going to be mostly locals. They're going to jump in before most of the other people on the outside, unlike the bass tournament, which is almost all people from outside.
yeah, that was good news.
Yes.
So maybe 3 local registrations for the fishing tournament, so most of those are regional, so they may or may not all be overnight, but probably at least a handful of hotel stays coming out of that fishing tournament.
Right, the trips to Walmart,
And
gas
sold
station,
out.
whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Yep, and right away too.
yeah.
Yeah, so we need the data on that, right? So we go, oh wow, this was a great event, brought in people, which is one of our chief metrics, right?
Yeah, and also, for one, I want to stress again, like, I don't think the board wants to be like meddling or super hands-on with management of those events or anything.
Just to know, just ahead.
To be aware, and then, what was I gonna say? It's an easy trap to fall into to be like, well, we're just gonna run it back again next year and just kind of do it ourselves again on the city side. So I just want to make sure that that doesn't happen in that we follow through on being collaborative. And I think that it's important to broaden that beyond the board as well. So for example, I was talking to Carlos at Fish Speak Outfitters yesterday, just really briefly, and he mentioned like, hey, I've heard the city's spending money on this stuff, and I was quick to be like, my opinion as the board chair is that these are good events, whatever, but that we are trying to improve the collaboration. And he was like, yeah, I was personally very surprised no one talked to us as the fly fishing shop in town about this event. We could have helped promote it at a minimum or help get involved in the planning. And so, reaching out to the community on the front end as well, because that only can help build a more successful event.
I say we're involved, they're not.
Or not at all. Well, and the maybe slightly questionable aspect of that specific event is that there's a contract given out to a city employee's husband.
Oh,
No, that's not true at all.
Really?
That's absolutely not true.
I've heard it several places.
Yeah,
So apparently that's a fairly widespread impression.
Okay, but it's definitely not true.
Okay.
that's good news.
That is good.
He's doing it on his own free will. He is helping because he's done things like this before.
Yeah,
But I did hear that rumor, and it's absolutely not true.
cool. And I also,
So he's doing it as a volunteer,
Yes.
whatever he's doing. Thank you. Good to know.
That's-
He's really good at what he does.
Yeah, and that was my defense of the city was like, well, for one thing, a town's small. If you know that someone's capable, you're going to reach out to them, and if you're just trying to make your event happen, like, that's how it goes.
well, Carlos feels like he's been burned by the city so much.
Yeah.
It's just questioning.
Yeah, he has some bones to pick. But again, the more we perform outreach, make people aware of what's happening, like keep building those bridges, the better we can kind of put that stuff in the past.
You're saying that that guy is participating but not receiving benefit.
Absolutely no benefits. He's doing this all on his own free will.
Thank you for that information.
Yeah, absolutely no claim. Yeah, I don't know where this rumor started, but it's actually this, and they
It's
can
the same
confirm.
rumor mill that let me find out about the bass fishing tournament and offhanded conversation about something else.
Yeah.
And which is what Joe's talking about.
Yeah, and if they wanted it, nobody really believes what I'm saying, not you guys, but they could also pull a CORA request through the city manager's office to find out what the contracts are. If there's absolutely not one single contract with this person.
That's good.
Cool. So billboards, we're good to move forward on that. Obviously we just need to keep looking at the numbers in terms of where we're gonna land.
Well, I get it less than we thought it was.
Yeah, which is good. And I can pull up the contract from Luann. Victor, since we got the green light from Tara yesterday, can you push the roof?
Yeah, I will.
Luann's is critical.
Yeah.
I will do that today, on the lands, and then I have Chris gets an electronic contract that I'm gonna send over to Tara for her to sign. Because I think she said that she has to sign it right in the meeting yesterday.
She
And then
is-
I will contact this person and then have them give us a contract to sign off on it today.
What is that one?
And then I'll CC y'all on
The
it.
next boards is what you saw.
Oh, the,
Yeah, this one's for the one that Luann sent.
this is, this, we have to vote on this.
Oh, you're talking, no, we're talking about the billboards only. We haven't got the radio.
Just billboards.
Yeah, this is a radio. It looks like a radio, but it's not.
It is,
It is radio?
it is radio.
She sent both.
Oh,
She did.
sorry.
It's that's the confusing part. Yes, yes. I agree.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I thought you were, yeah, sorry.
So here's the radio. Yeah, these are, looks like maybe one conglomerate that has all these stations.
Cumulus.
Oh,
It's
it's
easy because it's through Cumulus.
Do you wanna, are we talking about that now, or are we just?
No, I'm just pointing out the context.
Yeah, okay.
We'll get into that next. On the billboards, I would say let's get a fresh design. I don't have a huge issue with this,
We
but
have to have it by the end of the week.
okay.
We are so pressed with time to keep our time thing going on. I like this one. I mean, it's, all you're trying to do is trigger their mind.
I think we should change the tagline to align with what we have on the website.
I agree.
So-
And it also needs to have same brand family as the one that's here in town.
Correct. So I would do the Visit Trinidad logo, put Timeless Adventure on there. Potentially, I would change the photo to. There's one we have that is very similar, but it has downtown in it. So I mean, it doesn't need to be a crazy layout.
That photo is the right visualization. Trying to get another one in and everything else and get it done is gonna be hard. It's easy to change the tagline, but the rest of it, because we have to have it by Friday.
If we're committed to the contract, why can't it go like another week without?
Because of timing of their crews, with their crews out there, they're only out there twice a month. And I mean, it's gonna throw it all off and we'll have to basically start all over again. Plus, I don't think we'll lose that board now, but we did in the past when we delayed and, we wound up
Well,
losing.
we're moving forward to execute the contract. What we're talking about is the creative.
Right,
So if we execute the contract and we don't supply the creative, we can't agree on it, it's costing us money, it's not costing them money.
well, I
I agree about the scheduling.
Yeah, I personally like that one, I don't mind it. I didn't ever really like Timeless Adventure, but that's fine too. We've used magic for lack of the fact that we never really branded or came up with a slogan. And I've used it in radio. The one that was written when the city took over is basically my copy with a few tweaks, and it still says magic, So kind of gone that way without a vote.
Yeah, I mean, we did hold a vote on the tagline at the time, and to me, it's kind of marketing 101. We reinforce the same message repeatedly. This is what we have promoted on the Visit Trinidad website. If you see this billboard, it promotes visittrinidad.com, so you go there, you get the same message again.
And I like this picture better for that placement too.
So we almost certainly have this in high resolution to throw on the billboard. It would change the layout a little bit because the peak's on the left, so you have to basically just flip where the text is. But otherwise, it would be virtually the same. I do like the amount of words. I think everything's pretty much the same. Keep the website plug Yeah. Pretty straightforward. I mean, Chris, if you want to hand it off, I can do a design in 15 minutes.
Okay, that's fine with me.
I just need to know what the specs are for the billboard itself. Or if you want to spec me with their design person, you can supply the high resolution photography and instructions and that.
Well, you're fixing to take over contact with Ms. Freeze, Jennifer Freeze. I love the name.
Yeah.
If you want to take over and work with Joe to get them what they need to reproduce it, I mean, it's a whole lot easier to let them do it if we just don't know what we want.
Yeah.
And
I like this one, but again, it's a it's a community effort here. So.
Yeah, I'm not just on surface. The billboard is fine, but I just think that we should, if we're getting new stuff, make it all consistent moving forward with the things we already have out there. So as far as I know, this is not a message we have published anywhere right now. So just trying to get it lined up with what we have in the wild on the website.
yeah, and that's not only what
I tried hard,
which is, I think, the industry, but it's something that was brought up in the council meeting.
They did have concerns about rain, consistency, and just making sure that was in our consideration.
Okay, he's got Jennifer's
I
contact.
just sent it to you,
Okay.
her contact, and then I'm gonna send over the electronic signature for Tara to sign, and then I'll copy or CC you guys on it.
That'd be great.
Just so Tara's aware that the contract needs to be signed as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get that done, and then maybe I'll get it done to by the end.
And then I will call out the lands part of that and then get a contract going on that. Is the billboard gonna look the same?
No, it's got to be slightly different.
It'll be a little different.
Okay, who's designing that?
Well, it can be the company, we just send over the assets, right?
Okay.
Yeah, they should be able to help with it too. So we can, mostly just talk about the messaging on that one. Because,
They need to look similar.
Yes.
That's what we're saying, and,
Yeah.
so it would be the same general billboard, but instead something like downtown is it here.
Right.
With
The mayor's asked us not to put the word hotels on it. We can
Yeah.
say restaurants, recreation, but please don't say hotels. But yeah, it's turn here for your adventure. Yeah, your timeless adventure, turn here, whatever.
But otherwise, yeah, have it look pretty much identical. So yeah, I think we're all on the same page on that. If you guys want, I can, if you want, I can send out an email with the design.
just get it done. That's just another step.
Yeah.
Slow it down.
Mhm.
I trust you to do as good one as the one I've got, so it's not, that about me.
Okay.
Just get something up, it's a good location. There's two boards, it's on the right side of the other board. The other board right now is black and white. So the color will pull their eye, plus as they're going around, you slow down on the highway.
You have to, it's like 30 miles an hour.
And then just as you're making a little curve to go out, it's right there, and there's no calculating right behind it, it's so cool. And the reason I got her down is on the right, it's illuminated. And I said, I said, that cool, just turn the light off, and the chargers, so just like 100 something.
It used to be that,
Last time I don't remember. But she said, well, illumination, so anyway, got it a little cheaper.
There you go, Chris.
Cool. Think about notes real quick. We kind of moved on to our old business, which is continuing our marketing and advertising discussion. And then we'll have grants to cover as well. So, was there anything, just any last things you might have had out of Tara's meeting or Victor or anything from that? I feel like we more or less covered it.
The only thing I was thinking about was that to dive just slightly deeper into this process, when we talked about the evaluation, but we'll also be involved in the budgeting process for next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that has to start, fairly early on.
Pretty imminently. The biggest thing is I think at our next meeting, we need to start talking about a potential ordinance change and what we would recommend.
Right.
Because we need to come in with what we would want to see to a council meeting in July.
Yeah, I won't be here, but I have one suggestion for y'all to consider. And it can be easily put in a new ordinance, that the existing board vet new members to present to the council for consideration. That way they're not voting on 4 or 5 people, getting to not know who is and what, and we can better control what's there. Also put in there that if you miss, 3 meetings in a row or something, whatever you would want to put in there for wording.
I think that's already in there, if you missed 3. You mean specifically?
Yeah, I think that is.
It's the paragraph above the expenditures, it's the rules of engagement.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm
Well,
pretty sure that's what it is on the
but
website.
to let it, just to help, not so much we have control, but we've looked out, because even with Luann, we've got people that kind of know what's going on, because that's all it's about. But there have been some that have applied that are not quite, in the past, that weren't quite what was needed.
I think it's the communication thing, Joe. Lewin, to my experience, I just showed up at the meeting. I could have followed the city thing, right, but I didn't have any say in it at all. Or awareness of it, just that someone had applied, right? If you remember this board, you have to look through all the council agendas and meeting minutes to find that someone had applied, that they were being considered, and then they were approved by the council. For me, it was just the end result, and I don't know that we need screening power either, but it would be nice to know that, hey, we've got a couple applications in, this is a regular course of communication.
I think, Victor told us that in our meetings.
Yeah, I did miss that. I think it's entirely could.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to ask if we had any applications for our 2 seats.
No, what I can do is I'll pull up with Audra and see if anybody.
And what I've seen lately is it's just in the list of things, and get involved, I can't remember the title of the link. When I reapplied, when my term ran out, I applied, and then until I pushed them, they never actually brought it up it took almost a month to get them to bring it up for consideration.
Yeah. Well, based on what I've heard from some council members, I think that boards in general are going to be getting a lot of attention. And so, like your suggestion on our board looking at potential new members to help or just to offer opinions, that probably would happen across the board, unintended. So, that would be a change at a higher level than just LTAB, right? It would be global board change, so Main Street, arts and culture, all those boards.
Well, it just makes sense.
Yeah,
We're here to help the city council and give them recommendations, so that would just go hand in hand, so that's good to hear.
All right, cool. So yeah, keeping that stuff on the radar. So jumping forward again here to marketing and ad discussion. So billboards are moving forward. I'm going to help with the design work there. So Victor, I'll touch base with you or maybe sit down after the meeting real quick. Just keep that plug in. The main thing I think would be making sure we have this image. We can probably pull it from the website if there's not. Does DIQ have somewhere we can grab photos? I know there's a Google Drive that has some assets.
So all of the photos are, I think when we looked at the website, there was that.
Yeah, there's a media folder, but they may or may not be full size. So a lot of times it's best practice to have a smaller resolution image for a website because it loads quicker. So we definitely want to make sure it's the largest possible resolution we can find for a building.
And you could almost make Trinidad bigger, but you could almost use that right there. Get rid of that ugly logo.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to look more or less the same. I'm probably going to use the logo though.
Why? It doesn't
I like it.
I kind of like it too.
It's pretty, But it doesn't say.
It's quirky and.
But it's just keeping things consistent, and so like,
We designed the website with those
The-
colors in mind.
yeah, and like the Zone Wizard guide we just put out, I used it, so just trying to keep it across.
Don't put it
our
on the
frame.
board because that's just another distraction. You know, you got to make it as simple as possible.
I'm gonna deputize Joe to make those decisions. And I assume you're gonna look at proof and it looks too busy or whatever, right? And we've got 9 words instead of 6 or 7, then, well, we can't quite do that.
Yeah,
Or the QR code.
there will not be a QR code.
No, that you look at it, that is the most ridiculous idea. There is.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up. My mistake.
People don't put QR codes on the boards.
No, I haven't never seen one of those.
Because
That's
correct.
yeah, you know, if you have a series of boards like
We're gonna get
Dixon
sued
does,
for traffic safety violations.
if you have a series of boards like over a 5-mile deal, you can do something like that because they'll know that the board's coming up to get it. But that's not even doesn't really even make sense. Billboards are not. They are hard to know with their influence, but they're intended to spark a thought, to plant a seed. When you see them anywhere, the more information you put on them, the less that seed is, to be honest with you. But it's to make you think, oh, Trinidad, boom, that's there. And then, oh, here's Trinidad, and there's something that was interested in me because I saw a door and I didn't remember it, whatever. You get it does. It's humorous when people, they start saying, "Well, are you going to do this? Or are you going to check that?" And they have no idea what they're talking about.
So here's the other billboard contract. So 6 months or more, it's $900 a month. So total 24-week cost, so that's under 6 months. 6,700. So we got a little over 1,300 in setup. And then we do a year. Oops.
Good thing I gave you some money back.
That 1080 is in the neighborhood of what we've been talking about before.
So 12,113.
Comes with production and everything.
That's a full year.
Right, and we took off a little from the sports. We're still in the neighborhood of what we talked about before.
Well, a little over.
So we're at 16, 17.
Yeah, what was your total here, Chris?
8 something. Some year stuff.
4,800 and change.
Something like that. I was gonna say 47 and change, but 4800 is fine, right?
So yeah, this is about 17.
That's within the neighborhood we put right here yesterday, right? It's $900 off or something like that. What did we say? For boards?
That one was $4,889.83.
Billboards 15, you're right, yeah, so we're at almost $2,000 for billboards. One of the things I was gonna suggest is we keep a prudent reserve do all this, I'll do the entire media buy that's available to us. I mean, you brought it up as well.
Yeah. Certainly pulls things down a good amount.
I think we could run fewer radio spots or do less with print media then to make up the difference.
Yeah. So if we update this approved, then goes to 1,700.
17,000.
Yeah, 17,000.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, drops our amount remaining to about the same, 17,763.
How much did we have budgeted for DFW?
I think anything.
Well, we were talking about doing that's kind of all out the window at this point. We're back to scratch on the budget for anything else we want to spend. Because we're at up to about 35,000. So we have this under consideration that hasn't been allocated currently. So the amount remaining with the billboards would be about 35K for any other marketing advertising moving forward. What we're considering still would be A.R. Mitchell and then a portion of Main Street Live under this line, so that would bring it down to 17,763.
And that was a result of a conversation with Terry, where she said that you could draw amounts from the various buckets for the grants.
Yeah, so Tara did confirm grants could be split across spending categories.
Good. This, we have not yet, but this radio schedule is for 2 months, not solid both months, but to hit the beginning of the summer. It could be, if there is money available next fall, it could be repeated.
Yes. I have kind of thoughts about reading that one, whenever we're into that, right? About this.
Well, so we're no billboards. We move on to the other quotes we have.
Sure.
So if we want to talk radio first, let's talk radio. We got these numbers in mind. Right now, if we were to award Mitchell and Main Street, that brings us down to just under 18,000 for the rest of the year in marketing and advertising. So, that Cumulus radio contract, if we did it straight up, would take 10K of that right off the bat. So that leaves very little. That's, again, if we award those grants. So yeah, right now, without the grants, about 35,000 remaining in marketing and advertising.
Just to speed along the discussion, I just want to throw some numbers out there and just say, in this group, whatever. I'm looking at this radio quote. I think I would be tempted to go with the Albuquerque and Amarillo and let the Wichita Falls drop off. It's not that much money, but I think the direct application of people who come here, and it's slightly different, with each of those markets. I like the Amarillo because you're across different demographics, and it's a pretty modest buy. You get that one station thrown in for free, KPUR, and the Albuquerque station is, it's got pretty wide reach, and country music is pretty good demo for us. So I would say, take the 4,100 from Albuquerque and the whatever that is, just over 3,000 for Amarillo, and spend 7 on radio. And we can reduce that, but just to throw something out there that's specific.
Yeah,
I don't know that I would have to check. I don't think by dropping Wichita Falls that changes the rate on anything else, because it is through Cumulus.
right, since it's a package,
Right.
that the other numbers could potentially change.
Yeah.
I definitely would not. I would not be inclined to spend a full 10K with the current budget picture on radio alone.
Well, that's what you told me to.
Yeah, I know. And it's not a critique of the package we have. It's with the numbers we're looking at right now today, right? Which we're not committed to those grants, but if we're looking at this just under 18,000. That would only leave $8,000 for any other type of advertising beyond radio, which would maybe get us one print package.
And yes, we can do that, and I have recommendations about that too, just to throw it out there.
Right, and that's, again, that would also be pretty much zeroing out the funds for the remainder of the year if we did something print and the full pay. So I'm not saying they did anything wrong there. I'm just looking at what we might want to modify for our next step.
And I don't know what their considerations are for the package. I just, cost per impression, Albuquerque is much bigger than Wichita Falls and has more in common with us, I think, with the vibe here.
I think Chris's previous remarks on that were that it's harder to make a dent in a bigger market too, especially with less ads.
Yes.
We were talking about Dallas, and so I mean Albuquerque's not Dallas, much smaller. However, I think the same concerns would apply when you're comparing it to Wichita Falls, for example. So it's really more where you want to focus. Maybe for this season, we zero in on Texas and drop Albuquerque as a market for the time being.
We can do that.
And revisit that next year, because I think we should try and make the biggest impact we can in like one or two places based on where the budget is at.
Drive out there, keep go with them around Wichita Falls.
Yeah, and I see the advantage of that, right? Because those people are already on that pathway, and you get wider.
Billboards.
Yeah, exactly.
That would potentially hit them if they are driving to Colorado. So yeah, it's kind of reinforcing the same markets.
I think you're also doing something a little different too. You're sort of, by reaching cross platforms, right? Your radio is driving distance and people who are in the car. I did have questions about the radio though. Does that include Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, or is it just terrestrial radio? Because ideally it's all those platforms that we have a presence on.
Yeah, and all the Amarillo does. Well, I'm pretty sure Wichita Falls does too, because they're closely tied. Don't know about Albuquerque, but if we drop Albuquerque, then it's not relevant.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's included. It doesn't say.
That would include streaming radio too.
Yeah, they all do.
If they do, that gets sent to their iHeart, or whoever their streaming outlets are. Then it's an even better buy than it seems, for just terrestrial radio, since most people don't listen to that.
They are open in
Dinosaur radio?
Yeah.
I would be surprised if they were on the streamers. Like iHeartRadio would be one thing, maybe even the Sirius, but
Not Spotify.
I'm pretty sure we would have to go buy Spotify ads ourselves. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
right.
well, it tells us that we are on their advertising budgets. So I wonder about how they work that out. That says 10 spots a week on KLUR. The weekend 6 spots. Where exactly do we have any choice in where that goes?
I was, when the big tornado hit Wichita Falls,
Yes.
I was sitting in the production room at KLUR, and everybody was gone except me and the jock, and I was cutting spots for a car dealership, and it came over the wire. Tornado hit Vernon, and it locked, and all this stuff was going on, and the kid on the air was freaking out.
Oh, wow.
So I took the radio copy and then the emergency announcement stuff and went on the air for them,
Oh, jeez.
saying, duck.
I also don't know these stations well enough to know what their demo is.
Well, that's where my background reminded me of my big stations that I thought would be the best. I mean, that's the reason that I would go with this. So. But I don't have a problem dropping Albuquerque. So.
If that's the buy and they will keep the rate the same, that's a good way to both save money and hit two other markets that are identified as potential customers for us.
Yeah.
So that would dropping Albuquerque is a decent chunk.
Yes, it's half of it.
Was that about $6,000 on radio? So right now I don't want to vote. Let's look at what else we have on the table before our next step. So just going to add this to a no.
And just verbally, at least Amarillo and maybe Wichita Falls would be willing to do some kind of a giveaway in the fall if we didn't have another budget. Like if we just gave them like 4 room nights or 2 rooms, 2 nights, or for a couple or for whatever, around and let them choose when, around Fancy Spider or Caveman or.
Does that have to be exclusive?
For one or the other, or
No, to the, like, this package is just for you to give away on your, or like, could we take all their entries and add those to our own promotion? Like, do a single giveaway, it's promoted.
If it's exclusive, we probably get it for nothing. If it's not exclusive, we probably have to make a buy to get it.
So what was number 6, something like that, 6,000 for, Reed, is that what you said?
Yeah, just under, but yeah, about 6K.
Yeah, 5,900 and change or something like that.
So that brings us down to 11 to 12,000 in the funds if we award the grants.
I'm just sort of assuming that we are, so that we have numbers to go by instead of to make it, so that we can figure out how much we want to spend, right?
Right, I mean, we can talk about the grants today as well.
Right.
Um,
And I'll have to excuse myself several times apparently during this.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
so I
part
thought,
of me is a little reticent to do all that without the land president. I hate to drag things out further because then we're looking at May for any actual decisions on grants. Fancy Spiders off our plate. The city's gonna pull it out of economic development, so they're getting full 20,000.
that's really nice, yeah.
Trinidadio's gonna get 20K as well.
Trinidadio's back.
Well, we'll see.
We saw paper that had that logo on it and.
So they submitted that way back over the winter,
Yes.
direct to the city manager's office, and they went to council with a proposal. So because it is now May, where they're gonna get their money, who knows if they'll do it this year or not, you know. It's also significantly less than what their ask was.
What's that, Cameron?
Jerry,
Yeah, my thought in talking about doing it this way is that I can completely leave the room and we can talk about all of those categories. But if I stay in, I'm checking in and checking out for categories, and that's why it made sense to me to talk about billboard and radio. And decide that.
Sure.
But how do you like?
I don't think you have to leave.
I've been accustomed to doing that when I told the city manager that when she brought it up, she said, "Good, I'm glad to hear that."
there's heat from council members on that specific.
That's too small.
Which is interesting because it was a unanimous vote less than a year ago, but apparently this council feels differently than the last one.
I think we've been totally appropriate on the grant process.
I think what you're doing is right.
Yeah.
I mean, leaving the room, letting them discuss
Yep.
is the appropriate.
No, it's just that
action.
it was brought up again, but I thought we already talked about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep doing, yeah. Just
Yeah,
No, I will. I think it's right. I think it's the right move. Whether she agreed or said, "Oh, it isn't this," or I think I still would.
Yeah,
So that allows us to talk about everything, and then I can
Yeah.
exit.
So what else do we have? We got proposals from Denver Post and Westward
Yes, sir.
here.
Yep.
And did you only put those in this sheet?
I think just the new ones. Westward, I think. Oh yeah. I'm not sure which version I sent. Maybe I want to
Sorry,
sorry.
like I shared one that had them all.
So yeah,
I could clean that up too.
yeah. My thought is that the Denver Post of the print publications we were talking about was the best bet in terms of impressions, and people actually come here. They've got newsletters that hit people who want to travel. One's called The Adventurer, and another one's called The Know, and those seem to hit with us. The rest of the specialty publications are typically overpriced. They also have as part of the Denver Post, they have a digital bookers paid VIQ for that, so there's no reason to do that. Westward hits a much smaller audience. It's, in looking them up, it just seems they're a little more Denver-centric, and they're not necessarily hitting the audience that actually will leave Denver to come down here in the way that the Post does. So it made more sense to me to, if we're going to go with print, to go with Denver Post. And do the newsletters, because those actually have a higher reader rate than other publications. People actually signed up to it because they want to know what's in it. And so, when it comes by email, they actually open it and read it, because that's what they're there for.
So with that, okay, so solutions.
Yeah, I ignored the ROS and the social media posts. That's the one, there we go, the elevate pictures, the ones that I thought were kind of cool. And notice Caveman, she tailored it, the ad rep, put something local on there, which I thought was smart.
Put a little bit of work.
That's,
Yes, she did, yeah.
Some salespeople are smart.
Yeah, know your customer, right? That's Zig Ziglar right there.
Some of them just,
So we get all ads in the newsletter. I'd be curious what their click-through rates are on ads, because they list open right here.
What's the one picture that you had that you took and somebody, was it DIQ that you just randomly used it? There was a picture and you're like, wait, that's my picture.
It was on the website,
Is it on the website?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've sent them things before, deliberately too, but yeah, they definitely might just be random stuff. So both of the newsletters?
I think so, because it seems like a smart buy. We don't have to, I mean, the rates are slightly different, but you can do something meaningful with a couple $1,000s, you know, like 3 or 2,500 with each of the newsletters. And just playing with the numbers, you know. I thought, okay, let's try to balance these different channels that we're doing, you know, billboard, radio, and print.
And that would be, again, these are package deals. They have this pricing listed for. So I have to be, honestly, I haven't gone through this yet. So
Sure.
Yeah, so they don't have a la carte.
Not exactly.
Yeah, so if we went back, the pricing could shift.
It could. And if we ask, you know, for a specific package, maybe they would say, okay, as long as you're buying more than one thing, we will give you a, you know, a discounted rate, which is pretty typical, right? Run more, you pay less for each.
So it looks like
Yeah,
they have a Venturous newsletter at $1,300. The no newsletter is double.
Yeah, you get less with the no.
Right.
And what I was, you know, without drilling down too far into it, I'm just going to recommend, you know, a dollar amount. We spend such and such, like we get for forward, right? Yeah. And so we could spend 5, we could spend 8 on the Denver Post and get a good return on our cost per 1,000. You know, it's roughly the same as radio. It's around, I was playing with the numbers, it's roughly $20 per 1,000. Gotcha.
I wonder if she, not to digress, but on the billboard thing, so many people tell those billboard people, don't let it go, don't let it go. The mayor, everybody else, to the company. I wonder if that kept the price high. When they know they've got a hot product.
Right.
Oh, right, yes. Well, the contract goes out, so it's a new deal, right? Not old pricing.
Yeah, I mean, same deal with saying we have someone else who wants it. I mean, we all know that. That's all part of sales, right? So, yeah, I mean, obviously having savvy negotiators benefits us and the city in these contracts, but at this point, that one is what it is. Like, I don't think it's going to be coming down.
No, not with people like Maverick or Loves as potential new buyers. And that was the argument that was made. I don't know if they really did or not. But that is a value that they have much deeper pockets than we
Tell
do.
you what, Loves, they don't want to piss everybody off down here. They don't put something up. They skip Trinidad and come out here.
I don't think they care.
Probably not.
I've had broker deals with Loves, and I don't think they care. I think they're a well-run company, but this is too small.
You know, they're not hard to work with though, because
No, they're not.
when I was with Texas, we did a promotion with Loves up down I-40 with coupons. They put
Yeah, nice.
coupons and little tents, you know, cash register. It was like 8 or 9 different Loves.
Yeah, the nice thing about Loves is they are Oklahoma-based, so they have an investment or a footprint that shares this area,
Yeah.
as well as the Panhandle.
All right, so posts. What were the other?
So 303 and the Westward,
Those are the new ones. Yeah. Well, 303 we had.
we already had, yes.
Good morning, Joe.
And that was probably not by recommendation from me, but we decided to do this, and that was on the spreadsheet.
303 we had, their packages are a little more affordable, and that makes sense since their reach is lower. Honestly, I think that Westward is a better pick than 303 audience-wise.
Okay.
It's a good blend. So 303 definitely younger demographic targeting, kind of more like a hip, active, urban residents. Westward, I think, bridges those, like the post audience in 303. They're definitely more niche. It's like an alternative magazine. So things like promoting Fancy Spider with them would be a no-brainer. I think so. You would get people who are interested in things like music or art with Westward. So I
one way to look at it is that the Denver Post is a blunt instrument, and the others are a little more surgical.
Sure.
Yeah.
They have a pricing in here, or it's just unique.
It's the media care. I told it, I had to hunt through all that to figure out what to do with it.
Gotcha.
And like the special issues, I didn't make that a part of the consideration with Westwood. Because you just have to pay so much more.
Go ahead and contact her.
For less.
Because I told her that you would.
Oh, I know, but that's as soon as we're done.
There is your.
Just let her know that
This is
we're
Freeze
Huh?
Just Jennifer Freeze.
Jennifer Freeze, yeah. Just let her know that we're moving forward and we should have.
Pricing.
I'm gonna contact both of them.
I kind of wonder if digital would be a move for them instead of a print ad.
That was another one of those, since we were paying DIQ, I didn't go that direction, we certainly can.
Well, so all they're doing is, all the IQ is doing is social. So
And which is Meta, right? Isn't that what they decided?
Meta ads.
Yes, exactly.
That's our social media is Instagram and Facebook. We don't have.
Why are they placing so many of them here in this market? Again,
I don't think they are.
I see them all the time.
Does it say sponsored?
I don't know. Why would there be an ad for Trinidad if it's not?
I think he's referring to the city is using our Facebook page to post.
Yeah, I mean, the posts, you can see them as what.
It's not posts, they're ads, they're dog ads.
Yeah, if you catch one, send me a screenshot. Because they shouldn't really be, they should be suppressed against locals.
They have mostly like when I look at reels.
Oh, really?
So your feeling is it isn't mutually exclusive then, or we should not do digital?
So
That's kind of my
it would be
consideration.
similar to doing an email newsletter or something, because these digital ads are showing up on Westward.com. None of our efforts with DIQ would show up on something like that. So under our previous contract, they were running Google, like smart ads that would show up as, they could potentially show up as a banner ad on other websites. That's a Google marketing product.
Right, I don't know if we've got geocaching on this or geosourcing on it or not. I did not.
Well, they would just put it on their website.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
Sorry.
So any visitor for Westward would see it.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, we don't have any display ads on the web. All we have is social promos. So if you're in a social app, you might see Visit Trinidad stuff from DIQ. That's all they're doing. So if you're surfing the web, there's no ads out there.
So you don't see it as overlap there?
Correct.
Okay.
It's a digital marketing effort, but it's a totally different category.
Yeah, I'm new to Westward, so I don't have, I just, Googled it, right? And went on their website and then read the material. So I get the sense of who they are, but I don't know how niche or what kind of market share they've got of the demographic that you described, which sounds pretty good, actually. It does sound like people we want to come here.
The display ads are cheap. We would need a landing page for them, so that's something we probably would have to do ourselves. So that's where the visitor reaches after they click on it. It's not best practice to just send them to the general website. You want to target a landing page.
Well, that gets you ROI too.
So I can work with Victor on that if we were to pursue something like this. These are not expensive though. You're looking at standard display banner, $7 to $8 a month. High impact, $8 to $10 a month. So
yeah, I mean the click-through rate, you actually can we'll see what you're doing on that for the expenditure. They tell you what it is, but we'll see what we actually get on the back end.
If we want to consider this, I would say we set the overall budget and put a pin in it for a little later for like a late summer fall promotion that we are targeted on. So a good example would be if we do our giveaway. Great way to promote it would be banner as a whisper. So yeah, I think maybe not move forward on this today because it's just too much to try and work through, especially it's like, what are we promoting, what's the landing page look like?
I spent a couple hours on it and I still feel underprepared.
Yeah, totally. But I think, the prices for the digital display ads are cheap. And I think it'd be worth our while to try a little bit of that. And then maybe one newsletter.
Either in the know or of interest, or are you talking about theirs?
I'm talking about theirs.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
So I think we have different posts lined out. So this would be Westward.
Okay. No, I mean, I wasn't aware that we had some agreement on it. That sounds, I think they're a good source or a good expenditure of our marketing money.
Yeah, right now, again, I'm just putting everything down on paper for where we're pointing in on.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah.
I misunderstood. Yeah, and the post is read far wider than, its readership is far greater and cuts across a lot more demographics than what's ordered through. Even if we target it with their newsletters. And it's a trusted brand too. Paper of record.
Summer guide, potentially an interesting thing to target. But that comes out soon. So. Jeez Louise, the name is tiny. Not too expensive to get ads on their newsletters either. Looks like about $100 per ad. So yeah, we get pretty good bang for buck to just experiment with some Westward, so we don't need to do a big multi-$1,000 package if we're buying banner ads a la carte on the email newsletters and on the website. $1,000 or less would give us multiple touches. And those banner ads on the website looks like they run monthly. So, and that might be. If that's single banner ad, on a single page, we would probably want to buy multiple for a month. Certainly look at a homepage ad, which maybe more. But anyway, if we want to talk about just ballpark budget, Westward, I was thinking around $1,000, more or less.
All right. And if you were thinking that, do you have feelings about post or 303? I mean, I'd sort of ruled out 303. But.
Yeah, I agree with that. So posts I got here looking at, well, I don't know about overall. Yeah, it does seem like the adventure focused newsletter is a good fit for us, even if it's a smaller audience. The cost is lower.
Yes, it is.
So certainly we could do at least one of those. Would we want anything else from them? Like what are banner ads on Denver Post website, for example? I know you said you didn't really look at it.
I didn't drill down that far, but I can go back to it. Yeah, I was just going, rough equity in terms of channels. Okay, that seems like it'd be about this much, that should be about this much.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna, for now, say their packages are at $5K. just for evaluation purposes. Do you know if there's like a westward equivalent in Amarillo, or just in paper?
There's Accent West, which is a long time city magazine. There is a new one that has come up that I cannot remember the name. The only reason I know it's there is because the Chip Chandler is a long-time writer there in Amarillo, is with them. He interviewed me for a story about the past. But I don't know what kind of circulation it has.
It's not Amarillo magazine.
It's
Which would be like.
It is an Amarillo magazine. It is a city magazine. It's just not.
Right. Okay. But it's not like D. It's not like
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but Accent West is.
Exit?
Huh?
Exit West?
Accent West is it is
Like
very,
you speak with an accent.
Accent.
Like you're from Italy or
it
something.
is a very popular
There it is.
magazine that's been around for 20 years plus.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. I was also trying to spread out the areas in which we were hitting media, right? To try to get the Denver market. It seemed best to go print with them, radio for Amarillo and, Wichita Falls and out there.
That we could probably get a story in there. I was trying to get Kyle to write a story to submit to them about Trinidad. I could probably write one, a small one, to the decent picture to them. They would probably put it in there. Might even put it into, where is he gone?
Fill out right now if you want, I guess.
Because I know tried to get Amarillo managing the civic center and then being, lead in Texas for so long. It might have an impact, I don't know. And they would probably print a story for me even without buying something, but they do a lot of stories like day trips, where can you go, in 3 hours.
Alright, I'll get info on that. Seems like that would probably be relatively low cost for dad's, maybe in the same ballpark of $1,000-ish or something. It's just small.
Maybe y'all aren't interested in Outpost Magazine getting advertisements from them, or because that's who we've been using.
The Denver Post?
No, that Outpost, the Western.
So you used to advertise in True West. Oh, sorry. We used to advertise in True West.
Yeah, True West.
And then every time you did, you got a
I
story.
think we were using True West, but this one we doing ads in that. I don't know if that's something else still.
Maybe we could look at it. Do you have any info on that? I don't remember doing more than like a single ad with them.
Within True West.
No, we just did one with them. I guess former staff had
We had a contract.
made a deal with them, and they did this one. This was like 7,500.
Yeah.
And they all have the logo.
Pricey.
It is pricey.
Yeah.
I think it's probably too big of a piece right now to drop $700 on a single print ad. Is that a quarterly magazine? It's pretty big.
It's quarterly.
Yeah, it's quarterly.
Yeah, we bought an ad with them, and I bought one.
You did?
Yes, I did. And that's why.
There's a lot of Trinidad stuff in here.
There really is. Well, Colin's doing a good job of doing the sales for it. His dad runs the magazine, his mom does the pictures. I mean, or vice versa.
Where's it based at?
Albuquerque, but they've also
They're an Angel Fire.
Angel Fire. That's right. Yeah, but their biggest market was Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
No,
all right. So you can reach out directly to Accent West.
I think that's some raw to follow up on.
Great. Cool.
I've actually been on the cover of Accent
What?
twice.
You don't normally know what I'm ready to. I just want to see what time it is. Sorry. It's not my tractor phone. I can see that.
It's not even because it's a big ad in there too.
Do you mind just digging up if you can find that contract, just for reference?
Yeah.
Um,
I don't necessarily, I'm not sure, I'll look.
or we can reconnect with them just to see.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's 7,500 for a single ad, I think that's way too much. If that's some kind of package deal, we can evaluate it. I still think it's probably based on what we're standing.
So did LTAP approve this, that then, or does something stop it?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, not since we've been here.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, this is what
I guess this would have
staff.
been 1 to 2 years.
When is that published?
This was in the last one, but there was a contract signed with the previous staff that arranged this.
She did some things on her own.
Okay,
Yeah, she did.
I just wanted to know if staff, I mean, that approved.
Because the board started out being, so heavily digital
Mhm.
that she went and grabbed a few print things on her own.
Yeah, it may have come across our desk. I don't think that we ever saw that final ad design, for example. But she may have said, I'm gonna get this ad.
Okay,
You know.
that's, I'm gonna get some
You
clarification
would
on.
put a nice logo even in the middle of your ad that says nothing.
Kind of like a Bucky's billboard.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody goes there.
No, I'm not complaining.
I've never been there. I've
Well,
always wanted to go there.
I went as a cultural experience and I actually kind of liked it. But they advertise the hell out of their stuff, right?
Yeah.
Isn't there a billboard here? Yeah, 360 miles or something like that.
I've never been to Bucky's.
You should go just have the experience.
Yeah, that's.
Where is the closest?
Partner?
Yeah.
I think that's right. Amarillo is the other direction the partner's supposed to.
They have one in Amarillo?
They do. Oh, right on I-40. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's on the sort of east side of town, right? Yeah.
So right now, if we awarded the grants, we did the radio contract without Albuquerque. We did a full $5,000 Denver Post package, and we spent $1,000 on Westward in some capacity. That would leave $5,700 remaining in the fund.
Well, that sounds like a prudent reserve. And I mean, we can spend more, but yeah, we're still in a territory of having some flexibility.
Right. And that already, this approval by LTAB, that's the billboards, so they're already up. So I mean, that sounds like a good draft plan to me. Obviously, we still have to do things to execute the rest of it. So, Chris, so you're done in May. So first meeting in May, we won't have you anymore. Is that correct?
I think my term ends in the middle of May,
Okay,
whatever St. Years does.
gotcha. So maybe the first meeting. I was going to ask if you want to go back to Cumulus or hand it off to look at and negotiate.
Oh, I'll finish this out, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And then when we're done and if there's no changes, then I will turn it over to you to do the purchase order. They will be the same thing as go work with, approval and cash drawer. Everything else, just they'll send you a little contract. Actually, I'll forward it to you.
Okay.
Now I'll finish this out. The work's done. Really, all I have to offer is, the radio. But I was doing the radio. I had no clue on the digital one. What to look at. So it's kind of foolish for me to say. Plus, I'm old and ugly and you're too old.
But you've been on the cover of a swanky magazine.
I have.
Well, outside of contribution short, I mean, just even just looking at overall budgeting and things, like, still have the ability to offer some value, I think. But I'm not trying to convince you to stay.
You're just being nice and letting me know that I could stay, and that's all right.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. I mean, the billboard work and the Cumulus work is an example of the value that you bring to the table.
We'll see.
Okay, so we're just gonna see what the Jan Outpost is all about.
would be willing to reapply, and if I got appointed, then if you came across a good member, I could resign, then pull somebody up, and it's not going to be, I expect her to be leaving, so.
Yeah, it's up to you. Obviously, I don't foresee us having a fully seated board for a while, the way things stand. Obviously, you never know, someone might come out of left field. I know we probably talked too much about Rugerville, but I had heard that there was pressure on other hotel-connected people to apply, which would not be a great look. Having someone involved with the hotels makes sense at a base level. If it's someone who has a direct line to the mayor, like Luann does, it starts to kind of have the optics of packing the board. So that's a concern I would have.
Of course, because I was on the old tourism board for years.
Right, and I believe, Camilla never recused herself from voting for Trinidad things. So there's been plenty of that stuff in the past. I would not like to see that continue. We should try and remain as impartial as we can. But that's a side note on the status of the board.
We'll see.
So I think we're probably good on marketing and advertising, especially for the time being. I like our general budget here. We'll take next steps on honing in on what we want to do with the posts and with Westward. So let's do some work on that ahead of our next meeting.
If you want to send me an email to specific things you want me to look at,
Okay.
like banner ads or whatever you want. I mean, I can make the notes here, but if you have a specific request, I'll go to the ad rep and say, give us a quote on this.
Sure, and maybe one of the packages makes sense to do because it gives us a combo.
Yeah, well, and then now I've got some direction. I can get clarification on that.
And so that's what I've plugged in here with the 5,000 would be one of those packages. So 1,000 Westward, 5,000, and then 6K on radio.
Right.
Okay, so any other notes, marketing ads, anything else that we want to get in the mix, or we can just move on from that for now?
So what are we going to vote
on? Grant recommendations, I guess.
Yeah, today no votes on no official votes on marketing and ads because we still need to go. We have to revise the radio contracts.
This is not a contract. This is what they propose.
We have to revise the quote.
But we can just drop off Albuquerque if they agree to it and ready to go.
Sure, if they agree to it. So you want
If they don't, then we'll bring that back. But let's get it rolling
So you want to vote on
the
assumption that they can drop Albuquerque, keep the rest of the pricing the same. Sure.
Move it. I move.
Yes.
Then we go to Cumulus and say, we'd like the package as is, but drop Albuquerque out. That if you'll agree to that pricing.
Yeah.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So unanimous on that. The other
Get that paperwork started for you.
The other two we need.
Have we ever done business with them before? Do I need
Yes.
to get them as a vendor?
No, we should have business with them.
The other things we're going to need to get more info on.
It was before DIQ. It was DIQ next going after that.
Sometimes you might need an updated
Yes.
Yeah. So
I'll follow up with them.
thank you.
And then they'll get you a new revised quote, and then we'll go from there.
Procedural question. I mentioned this in my email, and if I'm going to excuse myself sometime soon, I would love to just have a few words about this.
Sure, that's the answer.
Yeah.
So
If you've got information, then that'd be great.
No, I just sent out to request info on them. So that is not free. They would usually have to pay for it. But some people are doing it, it's clearly an option. So I connected with the utilities gals to ask for what rates would be and what the process is.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've made the argument, I don't know if it's a good one or not, that since the city puts out the utility bill, we are, an arm of the city. I bet they don't charge themselves if they put something that is.
Yeah, when I did Main Street, we would do flyers in there all the time.
Right, and I've
Just
seen.
print them out.
Perfect.
Yeah, just as she's
That would be
outside.
outside charging ourselves.
Well, I was thinking the print cost. If you're running it off the printer, that's low. But if they were
Oh, yeah.
Because they were like
This is different
contracted
story, yeah.
with Cherry Road to
Yeah.
do a print,
Right.
you know, like a like.
Yeah, what I'm thinking, I'm remembering is they set out something about Santa Fe trail days and, you know, street closures and stuff like that, which really is, you know, was a piece of paper, and it didn't make any sense for the city to charge itself for anything that it was in fact doing.
Right.
And I felt like we were in the same category. And I just brought this in as an example. Just got this, right?
Yeah.
In Emerald, we divide in the utility bill for the civic center. And because we were part of the city, they still charged other departments than they did, but they like to do.
I mean, we would still have to pay for our own copies, but not the actual like cost of.
They like to do.
Yeah, number I've heard is $1,800.
They like to do
I don't
banks.
know if that's accurate or not.
That department like.
So there is a cost.
Well, there is. Oh, there's absolutely a cost, but for the city, it's a stroke of a pen.
Right. But it would still hit our budget.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, is that, you know, the Santa Fe Trail Days, for instance, would be, you know, the city is a thing that they've taken out of our budget, and I'm not opposed to it, just they took it out of that budget, and they're advertising for it, they're telling people about it, and I think the city takes responsibility for that.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see that playing out is that it comes back to our budget.
I think
It
possibly could,
But
yeah.
it's
It's
really just
one.
the actual copies itself. If we make our own copies, if we design it, if somebody designs it,
Yeah.
whatever.
I'm not saying we're not doing it, I want to know.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I'm just like, and even if there's a cost, is it a good or bad idea? That's a
Right,
separate
because if
discussion.
it's 1,800, I'm like,
Yeah, no.
I'm buying another ad
Mhm.
somewhere else because I'm trying to drive visitation and not promote it in the city first up.
Yeah, right.
I think it makes sense to be like, make sure that Felicia's aware that's a tool. We could even help with design if they need it, although she's been doing pretty well enough with that, I think. So like the fishing tournament, that's all sold out, but as we have these other events coming down, we'd be like, well, you can throw it in the utility mailer.
Mhm.
And if we're locally Santa Fe Trail Days, they've been trying to sell pre-sales. I would put a bug in her ear about putting that flyer in the mailer, for example. So yeah, I think we're generally agreed on
Okay, cool.
using that. The city focused in this. Okay, so moving on to grants. Should we start with anything that's not Main Street?
That'd be fine.
So we can discuss.
Right. And then would you be so kind as to keep sort of running total, you know, as we do this? I mean, I think we've already said we're within the parameters of the budget, right?
Everything
It's been a lot of
is currently on this sheet. What's being evaluated is in red.
Right.
So, but the totals in the amount remaining, that includes the consideration. So this would be, if we fully award the grants, this is where we stand.
And so we have 2 grants that I can be a participant in, and that's the 8K for Mount Carmel.
But it's
and
Mount
10K for Mitchell.
Carmel, right, and then the AR Mitchell.
Right, and we have to talk about scoring, that's the request, and we have to talk about scoring and, you know, what you
Well-
guys have to say about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, so previous meetings, we can get further, we can drill back down on scoring, if we wanna, you know, not, we're not gonna recommend like a full award. Previous meeting, we went back up to council saying, based on our discussion, we would want to fully fund these. Personally, I have a little bit of a hard time with Mount Carmel. So we have that in Main Street Live and Art and Culture that all but wipes out that fund. These 2,000 left a year.
Well, and another consideration, and I'm talking about it because it's on the spreadsheet, not because I'm advocating for it, is that it sounded like Tara said in that meeting that category E is, or D is off the table, right?
We, from the
It's E, I think.
miscellaneous,
Yeah,
from the jump on budgeting this year, we're requested to pretty much leave that as a reserve.
So that would remove that from consideration. So it's in red, but we're not actually going to be able to talk about that one in that category, is what I'm hearing.
Most likely.
Okay, yeah. So that leaves us with 2 grants and 2 buckets to talk about.
Well,
3, I'm sorry.
3 and
Yes.
3.
Yeah, 3 organizations, and you're right, it is 3 buckets. Yep. Sorry. I learned to read, I promise.
So we're starting on Mount Carmel. That's the one that I'm kind of wishy-washy about. Primarily local draw. We give them money every season for this. They get attendance. It's nothing crazy. 50 or maybe 100 people at a concert. And my assumption is that the vast majority live here.
Yes, well, when I've looked at their website, all the musicians I've seen are
Does anybody know, this may be in the grant application, if they're going to be hosting this in Mount Carmel? Last season they did a bunch at Blandina.
because I had the same question. You do have a hard audience cap if you're in the chapel.
And Blandina's downtown.
And it is downtown.
I mean, Mount Carmel is not a good location.
It says around the city and Sister Blandina Garden.
Okay. So various
localities, yes. I may have not ranked them quite as low as you, but where I would have deemed them, yes, is the outside Trinidad. I think most of the rest of the categories, like, are they a well-funded, responsible organization with funds? Clarity and completeness of the application. Look at my application right here. The money's appropriately spent. Organizational capacity is very high. Marketing and promotion, I had issues with. Like you, I think you said that you've looked at their materials. They're so dense, right? And the ad packet they gave to us was too much, right?
Yeah, I just bounced right off of that. And so
I don't know that they marketed their stuff particularly well. And this is where that goes to.
yeah,
I think it's, what I've seen is mostly like flyers,
Yes.
social media.
they do it in the Chronicle.
Yes.
And that's a regular ad. What I would love to see is for that ad and their social media efforts to put a little more spotlight on this is the one this month, here's who it is and where it is. So like instead of having this massive thing with a ton of text, like have one of your Chronicle ads just be like, come see Rosin and Rust at Mount Carmel this Sunday, here's the time, it's free.
Right.
Yes, a picture of the artist, like, and so I don't know the best way to, kind of work on that collaboratively or just get the feedback out to them. I don't know if they're doing those ads in house or if that's coming from Cherry Road, but I think that would be my main, feedback, like strings attached to any grant funds.
Yeah, they're not asking it for marketing money, and I feel a little weird about it, but I feel the same way as one of our evaluation points, right? Is how are we marketing this thing to the people who would know if the message is so crowded. I attend Network Council, and it's kind of the same thing. Their rep comes in and she reads this laundry list of things that they do, which is impressive in the terms of the scope of the organization, but it doesn't do much to separate out their artistic content from anything else that they do.
Yeah. So, like, what I kind of want to put on the table is a reduced award of maybe like $5,000, and then working with them to try and figure out how to broaden that reach better.
Do you want to make a motion?
A motion to approve $5,000 grant award to Mount Carmel. I mean, in terms of the other stuff, I don't know if we have to vote on that. Just,
Right. Yeah, I would say that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, Joe.
So we're dropping that down a bit from the 14. Oh my gosh, that was our minus 30. All right.
So I guess we have to talk about Mitchell then, or I can be in here when we talk about it.
Yeah, Mitchell.
Yeah.
You don't have any direct ties to the
Just wouldn't be so busy.
You know, I go there all the time, and I really like their artwork. And the people I get to see, because when you go to these First Friday events, it's kind of a who's who in both the arts and the political and social environment. They're very good at gathering people who are influential in town and just show that Mitchell has a reach in the community it's valued by.
Victor, would you just connect me with the Mount Carmel people? Maybe you wouldn't just send the notice of grant award, so we can chat about promotion.
It would be Ashley, and I'll just give her, I'll email her
Okay,
email one.
that works.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, what was the total for the Mitchell? What was the total points earned in our matrix?
Let me pull that up here.
Just because it's worth knowing, I guess, as we talk about the grant.
Mhm. So Mitchell. Mitchell cumulative 64.75.
Okay, yeah, that was what I'd written down, 65. So I did remember that correctly.
Technically lower than Mount Carmel.
Yes, which is interesting, isn't it?
A couple people were not favorable on economic impact.
Right.
I definitely had the high score here because, I mean, they're bringing people in for these shows. Way more than Mount Carmel is, although they scored high. This average is higher than Mount Carmel's average. Looks like they were lowest. Financial need and use of funds.
Yeah. That matches
I think they're going to complete this, but I think this is unfairly weighted because we didn't have the full application when I asked people to score.
Right.
So I think it's reasonable to assume that this would be a little higher, like with the full application in hand.
I think that's fair.
So, yeah, they're asking for 10K. That is specifically they called out marketing and advertising. I guess it's worth revisiting that application to make sure that is true. The full 10K would be that versus general event support, paid artists, anything.
So it's 3 shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
They give us a target audience and a marketing plan and cost, and a partner in supporting their promotion, I guess. Unless this is the Western Art Collector magazine is a sponsor, right? And so I'm guessing that must be a media sponsorship to support their marketing plan.
Mm.
I'm just guessing that, which bolsters the point that they're asking for money for marketing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
It's a 3rd year that they're doing it. They had 30 visiting artists who came for 3 days, 22 visiting artists. They had 275 to 300 in attendance. I guess that's over the run of it because you can't fit that many people in on First Friday.
That's fine for all 3.
They do the lecture at TSC, and they also do the on Thursday, and then they frequently do an event on Saturday as well.
I think that's probably speaking just to the gallery events.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to get to the 275.
Oh, okay.
They say visitors from outside of Trinidad 150 to 200. They're estimating hotel rooms at 40 to 50, which is a 1 to 3 sort of ratio. Some people do stay in homes. Some people probably are visiting for that. I'm sure they put their guest artists up if they're from out of the area.
Mm-hmm.
It strikes me that they're high quality events. It's hard for me to know how many people come from outside of town based on this, who actually come from.
Yeah. I know they have had both paid and earned media in art magazines. There's like Western Art Mag that they were in.
I think they were just featured in this as well.
So they do have some broader promotional outreach that trickles down and visit Trinidad. So
Yeah, here's the.
cool, we got it right up. I think that Mitchell, to me, is second behind Fancy Spider in terms of the overall impact on town and tourism visitation. So I'd be in favor of a full funding. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I think they do good work. I don't have a problem with that. I was just trying to break down, why, it's for me, because they did have some pretty low scores. Yeah, they did have some pretty low scores, and part of it was the application we didn't get it all in, and then looking at it, it's just, if we're awarding more money, full money to an organization that scored similarly.
And plus for,
Yeah.
So again, I just want to come back to tourism alignment, economic impacts. So I mean the scores, I guess, are still a little lower there. So 125 out of 15. And lodging tax impacts 4.75 out of 10. So would you propose reducing that in terms of fairness?
Yes, I do, and part of it goes back to the lodging impact. I mean, it's just really hard to tell without specifically asking people to say how many stayed in hotels. That's really hard to gauge unless you have some other way of measuring it, and for any organization, right? We just have to estimate how many out-of-town people we're actually putting in hotels for the time period. And it's especially hard with arts organizations. If it's a convention or something like that, which is one of our categories, then because you've got multiple ways for them to get the information themselves and for other people to corroborate the reporting. And the numbers are hard. I mean, what I was told a few months ago was that our sales tax revenue was down. I've been hearing this for months, right? And that the tourist season didn't do well for us. And then I heard yesterday that, in fact, it's not. It's in fact really, really good, which is why they are able to fund a number of things out of the economic development funds.
Well,
and so what I'm saying is data is hard to come by.
Tara said modest growth in February. So
but that's growth, right? As opposed to
it's not going the wrong way.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and so what I'm saying is I don't know how much. Even though that's our supposed to be our major consideration of this, how we can really know. I mean, maybe they're underestimating. I don't know. I can tell you, not for consideration, but when I did my grant, I had to look at all of my out-of-town guests and make a decent guess. And I looked it up online. If you have this many people coming, which is why that 1-to-3 ratio made sense to me in their application.
Now, did you look to it like regional, like we're talking, and north people that would come?
That is I think that's a different rubric, right? I mean, if you're talking about, from talking about my organization, Mount Carmel, we're pretty sure that's local, right? Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means that an organization is primarily funded by and attended by people who are local. It just means it doesn't have this really important rubric involved in it, which is our number one. Just does it increase tourism that results in revenue that we can track in hotels. Right?
What I also like about the Mitchell, though, is compared to Mount Carmel, if we're talking about, visitation kind of to the side in terms of direct effect, Aaron Mitchell's open every day or almost every day.
Right.
For a long window.
Yes.
Mount Carmel is single events
Yeah.
monthly. So it's has a much greater ability than Mitchell to touch more visitors because if they just happen to be here downtown, they can walk in and
Yes.
do a cool thing. So while the grant application, is supporting those specific gallery openings, which are big events, in terms of just supporting the organization as a whole, so they don't have to then pull from elsewhere for these events. I again just think it has a bigger overall impact on the fabric of downtown.
How many museums do we have?
6 or 7,
So,
something like that. Because there's like 5 in the Trinidad Museum.
and they're all free.
Art, history, miners,
Which is almost never open.
archaeological, just reopened.
Yes, it
So
did.
4.
Yeah, I was counting multiple museums up there at the Trinidad History Museum. Yeah, I mean, it's just not the same. To me, it's apples to kumquats. Fancy's Fire, to pick something we're not even having fun, right? I mean, massive impact on visitation, right? If you've got 700 artists coming into town or visitors or whatever the number 700 is in their grant, we have 700 hotel rooms in town, right? So in one night, we can basically fill the whole town to capacity, and then that is a direct measurable sort of thing because they're clearly drawing from other areas and at a fairly high capacity. It's also under a short period of time. So Caveman, I think that they're a good job for us. Something we don't even fund, RadFest, clearly has a huge impact on us over the 2 days that they're here, 3 days that they're here.
I'm a little surprised we haven't heard from Caveman.
Same.
They always go to the city.
Is that right? They go directly
That's
to
what they've been doing.
Quick side note, Victor, we bumped into Yoj after that council meeting,
Yes.
and he was pretty peeved that no one had touched base on reapplying for Q1, which we had, when we denied them, I think we went back and said, you should reapply. So I just want to make sure that we do some outreach when the grant applications go out. And I think we'll have a broader discussion about the grant expectations, having a potential pre-meeting where they can come talk to us or we present on here's how you.
Well, when I talked to him, he told me he was ready, that you were supposed to respond back to him with something. I don't know what exactly.
Who is
That's what he told me. Because I told him that
emergent
they got,
cases.
she worked with him.
Yeah,
so we consider it December.
I don't know what he was referring to.
No, it's mostly when the grants reopened, if we had people who applied, just to be hey, it's open, just send them a note.
Well, they get plenty of notification if they're on, if they follow us. I mean,
I think what we're saying is we should announce to
we
them.
should do a direct.
Yes,
direct.
you have applied before, here's your email address, I'm sending you a notification. The application's open on March 3rd and close on April 9th, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, and some kind of information or direction to the website or something that describes whatever that looks like. Because they have to find it, request it, fill it out, and then turn it in.
yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm not trying to just create a bunch of work for you, but just thinking about
Yeah.
when we're rolling out each window, basically, to work that into the process one way or another. And if that happens to fall on the board chair, so be it. But just making sure that we do our best to make people aware.
Mm-hmm.
And in particular, if we have said you're welcome to reapply in the future. It doesn't mean that we're going to grant it.
Right, exactly.
Allow them the opportunity.
Everyone we've had contact with would make sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It would make, I'd invite Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, even just in terms of managing the relationships and things, it's
So anybody that's applied, just let them notify them again of the next round.
Yeah, I would say if anybody in 24 and 25, whatever you've got records for, they made an application, hey, here's a window opening up. It might be helpful in this case since we don't know what the budget is for 2026, to say, there are funds available in this category or, this amount or something like that.
It'd be good to put it in the creative district newsletter and the Main Street newsletter, because those go out to all the businesses in the community, just as a backup.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, when I apply in Colorado, right, for OED funds, it tells me that this organization, here's the deadlines, it's on the website, it's on several places, it's on the application. It also tells me you can apply for $8,000 because this is the size of your budget. You know, so it's a guideline. I know I'm never going to get more than 8,000, so I'm going to ask for more than 8,000, but don't ask for less either, right?
Right. Similarly, knowing that we are allowed to split things now. So, but I think that's a good opportunity for a pre-meeting.
Yes.
To walk through the current structure of the ordinance, where the budget stands, so the grant applications are also realistic.
Well, we know we've been as transparent as possible, but the more we can give that perception, let them know, and they feel like, yeah, okay, they're being transparent. Because again, it's just like that city employee, the rumor gets out now, how many people are going to believe it, even though we're being transparent, he didn't make any money. That I'm talking about earlier with me. It's just a good thing to do.
I don't know if we want to open this can of worms, but if we're denying grants or awarding lower amounts, potential of allowing them the option to come to a meeting so we can explain rationale. I mean, that could get ugly potentially, but I want to make sure that people have an understanding of what happened there, how they can improve their grant application next time.
If you didn't get what you wanted, maybe you need to next time, beef it up. So, I don't know. It's always going to be questions.
Well, so I do want to get a vote here on Mitchell, and then we have Main Street. So we're bumping up on 11 o'clock here, so I do want to keep it moving. I have a meeting at noon, so I have to scoot. Gotta get back home.
Oh, you got an hour, 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, I gotta get home.
Yeah, but we're not going to push this meeting to 3 hours.
So, do we want to get is there any motion on A.R. Mitchell?
I'll just move it and see what you voted over. I don't care. I make a motion that we fully fund the A.R. Mitchell application at $10,000.
I'll second.
Okay, and then
I'll
discuss. Oh, well, that sounds like
I think you could second it.
Can't second.
No, you're just like a final vote.
okay. So your third got bumped up in the batting order.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we approve the full 10,000 to A.R. Mitchell.
And Victor, just to overrate the point I just made, the OED grant that we were looking at earlier this year, the marketing management, it gave us a deadline, it gave us who could apply, what the money could be used for, and the bracket of dollar amounts. So we wouldn't even have to know an actual budget, just to sort of an idea about what money is available, right? Like you could say, typically organizations are awarded grants in the $1,000 to $15,000 bracket or something like that, and that gives the person who's applying, don't ask for 25, don't ask for 50 either.
So let's just plan the earmark grant process improvements ahead of our next round.
Okay.
So we'll kick that out on a future meeting. We'll have clarity on what's even remaining. So we'll probably get one more round in this year, it looks like.
Maybe so.
Unless we get a bunch of people interested in recreational. Everything else is going to be getting down to the wire. So.
Right.
So we're on Main Street.
Hate them. Thank you guys. And thank you for structuring it so that I can make a clean exit and leave you to do what you need to do.
Yeah, I think that'll be it unless you want to throw out any miscellaneous and we talked about the inserts.
That was my miscellaneous. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
So I'll see you at the next meeting, but not the one after that. Is that the idea?
I don't know how I can figure for at least 2 more.
Okay. All right. Well,
So that's going to leave the board
It's not that I would never see you again, just want to know. Thank you.
It's easy to see.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Fine.
Cool, so Main Street's our final grant to look at. I mean, Chris, I know you have some level of relationship there too, having worked with them over the years.
I know that he's the best thing that's happened to computers.
Just for context, Tara was looking at supplementing whatever we grant out of the Economic Development Fund for them as well. So for the public record, none of that is finalized. It's also not purview of the Lodging Tax Advisory Board. That's coming directly from the city manager's office, and it is still in process. But
Shouldn't affect our decision, or should it?
I think that it should, because there are monies available elsewhere. That it sounds like the likelihood is very high that they would get probably not the 25K total ask that he has in there, but 20,000 total towards Main Street for this season. So that could be some combination of utility support, straight up cash out economic development, and then our grant awards. But for me, the recreation ask, I don't think the theater is a recreational thing. I just don't think that applies.
It is for the actors, but yeah.
Sure. But for attendance, and I think Eric was trying to subtly make this point by saying the city events, are not all strictly recreational either. But to me, I would take that 8,500 out right off the bat that he's asking for under recreation, just because I don't think it applies. And I don't really see the case for it in the grant application.
It is a pastime. It is people do, for recreation, I guess, to go to the theater and stuff. So I can see where he's coming from on that, whether it's actually defined as recreation.
Yeah, and we're going to end up with this kind of weird interpretive area, and I agree that, laws, and specifically this ordinance, they're up to interpretation. Like there's the law's the law, but also that's the reason we have the Supreme Court, right? Like you interpret the law. But in terms of our like in practice here, to me that kind of mostly felt like Eric seeing there's the most money left in that bucket, and so splitting it out to try and get the most you could. Compared to all of our other grant awards, though, fully funding this at 23,000, by far would be the largest award of anybody. Fancy Spider was still in the mix, that might be another story. Yeah, I'd be looking to reduce the overall award regardless. So that seemed like the easiest place to pull it out. I know we have the most money there, but at least they're looking at 6,000 out of agricultural limits. Seeing as we did reduce Mount Carmel there, that will give us a little more money to work with. Miscellaneous is off the table. There's 3,000 out of that. Do you think that we would have to ask Eric to revise this if we don't do this bucket split the way it stands? Or could we go back and be like, we're not touching miscellaneous, that's $3,000, we're going to put that into arts and culture for a total of 9 and award that?
I don't think he needs to revise it. I think you could just make this decision based off what you feel like what kind of impact it's going to bring to the.
Sure. Because that's kind of what I was thinking. And then some level of the marketing and advertising, and I'm not sure about the full award or not. And again, being aware that they're going to be getting more money from the city.
I think 6,000 alone, right, and just utility.
I don't know. I didn't see that. Terry just was like, we
Yeah,
have
this
this.
was
So,
6,000 there. Cause I think it's 500 a month. Did I do that math right? Yeah, it'd be 6,000 if they're doing it for a full year.
gotcha. Again, I don't really want to put a bunch of weight on like political optics, but we do have concerns about Eric's presence on the board and this grant. I feel like the higher the dollar amount that we award, the more heat we'll see from council in terms of that potential conflict of interest. So whether or not that's valid, it's going to come back to us.
I don't think we can consider that, because their opinion can change daily, and, granted, they're elected, given the charge of, making some of those decisions, but they quite honestly, in many cases, don't really know the answers.
But it could also impact how they want to revise the ordinance in the next year on
Yeah, that's true.
how this really impacts specific board members. So it may not be such a good look.
I think the most likely thing there would be that they would ask anybody with conflicts to either not apply for grants or to leave the board entirely. Yeah, I guess where I'm kind of steering here, I don't have a grand total, but would be to drop the 3K from miscellaneous and arts and culture, that ends up being 9. And brings this total back down to where we started today, which was about 2,000. So we still end up in about the same total expenditure out of that. And then
Was it 25 that they were asking for, or 20?
I think it was in between. I think I have it here.
I thought it was 25.
Where is the total? Total 25. Yep.
So that if you remove those both buckets, that'd be 13,500.
That's removing the rec.
And the miscellaneous.
Well, I was talking about moving miscellaneous
Oh, okay.
into arts and culture. The 3K.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, just with 8,500 out, it's 16,500. I don't know, I'm kind of inclined to go in at 10K. It's the same as Mitchell. It leaves us a lot more money to work with in our marketing advertising budget for the rest of the year.
And then how much do you think the city will contribute?
10. They're going to get 20 because then it's the same for all 3 things that are getting money out of economic development.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it's trying to be unbiased. I mean, the biggest thing about the theater, even over Fancy Spider, is it's 12 months.
Right.
And
Yeah.
multiple events, besides, 6 or 7, double weekend plays. It's, I think they got at least 5 or 6 special events. don't make a lot of money on some of those. They give other people the option to, come in and make money, get a little bit of concessions. But I wouldn't argue with 10. They got 20. That's, overall, it would be good. We'll let them. I'm not even directing a show this year, but I don't, I do manage their radio, pro bono, and, not getting anything out of it. It's a pain in the butt, but.
Yeah. So, that is going to more or less, there's not really going to be any money left in arts and culture after that 2,000 approximately. But if we have money in reserve, we can also say we're doing the final grant rounds, come back.
Yeah.
At least 5K short of their ask on the assumption that the city puts the other 10 for economic development.
Yeah. Do you want a motion on that, or a second, or a first, or
Um,
two of us?
Yeah, I want a motion.
I think so because there's only 2 left, so.
I make a motion, we do it.
Aye. All right, so that's a vote to approve 10,000 from the lodging fund to Main Street Live. What that's going to look like is 9,000 from arts and culture and 1,000 from marketing and advertising. So we're through grants for that cycle. Chris, do you have any miscellaneous items?
No, all miscellaneous was already done.
Take a motion to adjourn, I think.
I make a motion that we adjourn. I second it.
Aye. We are adjourned at 11:06. Thank you.